Welcome to the Plastic Disasta channel, and today we are going to be looking at some fascinating birds. The first bird we're going to look at is the Airazor, a Maximo who turns into a Falcon. Some say it is the best figure in the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom line. Let's see if the words are true. How's it going, guys? It is Plastic Disasta, and today we are going to do the review of the Kingdom Transformers War for Cybertron Deluxe Class Airazor. Give a little backstory of Airazor. She is an aerial reconnaissance expert, and she has some really great eyesight. I guess we should say eyes of a falcon instead of eyes of an eagle from now on, because I have heard that falcons have superior eyesight than eagles do. And she's really deadly in the skies. And you know who else is really deadly in the skies? Well, we'll talk about him in another video. Alright, let me just put the card and Airazor to the side, and let's talk about the packaging. Taking a look at the packaging real quick, we see Airazor in the beast mode and Airazor herself. Really nice art. And in the back of the box, we can see that Airazor can turn to robot mode to beast mode in 22 steps. And is it me, or is Airazor lacking a bit of color? Because look at the packaging and look at the toy itself, it's lacking some colors. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so now that we're done with the packaging, let's go back to talking about Airazor. Before we do that, if you haven't seen my Optimus Primal War for Cybertron review, every Kingdom figure comes with a card. And you can also peel it, which reveals their fate. Looks like we got some bad lighting here. Okay, a little better. Alright, so this is the card of the Autobot Ark, which is their ship they ride on. And if you peel it, this is their fate of the Autobot Ark crashing. And, okay, is it me or you still can't see it? Because the card itself is pretty dark. But at least you got the idea. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the Kingdom show, yeah, the ship did crash down to Earth. Now, finally, we're taking a look at Airazor, and I have to say, the painting and the sculpting is actually well done on this figure. I basically really like these sculpted in feathers on the shoulders and on the wings herself. Got that dry brushing right there, and I don't know what's going on with this one. I'm not sure if mine's like a defect, and if yours looks like this, let me know in the comments below. Continuing on about the painting, I especially love the head. The paint of the eyes is so well done, it's almost like it's a glowing effect. And the purple on her face, well, even though there's not a lot of purple, it does stand out, but kind of in a good way at least. And going down to her photon cannons on her arm, spoiler alert, that is her only accessory, so we got that out of the way. The gold is painted there very nicely, but I wish it has a little more color. And speaking of a bit more color, let's talk about the feet real quick. Pros and cons about unpainted figures. Yeah, you don't have to worry about paint chipping, but there's not a lot of colors, which means the figure won't look good. I just wish this part would be white. And let's also appreciate the tiny Maximal symbol on the forearm, even though in the packaging, the Maximal symbol is located on the chest. Other than that, everything else looks good. Let's go back to accessories, which is the photon cannons, which is attached to her forearms. Okay, finally got it out. Now, when you look at it from the front to the side, it looks nice. But when you look at it from behind, there are some pretty weird hollow gaps in there. But not to worry, when you're posing Airazor, at least you won't see the gaps from some angles. The only gap I really don't like, which would be the hole in the thigh right there. Yeah, it is part of the weapon storage in the bird mode, spoiler alert, but at least it's somewhat reasonable. But still, I could really care less about the weapon storage. But that is if we're talking about beast mode. But at least you can still cover it up with the photon cannons, even though it doesn't look that good in my opinion. And as for proportions of the figure, I really like the anime-esque proportions. What I mean by that, or you never heard the term before, it's basically a small torso with long limbs. And speaking of the torso, I think I find the torso a little too wide. I wish it was like just a tad bit shorter, but that's just me being nitpicky. So now that we look at the out-of-box presentation, let's look at the articulation. The head is on a ball joint. The arm can rotate, can move in and out. And as you can see, the shoulder pad can move up and down as well, but that's part of the transformation. Bicep swivel, bend at the elbow, no wrist rotation. It could bend this way, but that's part of the transformation. Waist swivel, The front skirt can move up that far, leg can kick that much, can move back that much, can move out that much. It could do the full splits, well, maybe a little more than that. You don't get a thigh swivel, but you do get a knee swivel and a bend at the knee, which is more than 90 degrees, which is really great. The shin can bend this way, but I think that's more for the beast mode. And the foot is on a ball joint, and as for pivot, you get a tiny bit. And as for the wings, and before I get to the articulation of the wings, you can either have it closed or opened up. And speaking of opened up, there is a hinge joint right here, hinge joint here, and a hinge joint here, and a bit of a rotation right there. Also, the tail feathers can flap as well. If you really want her in the air, there is an action-based port right there, so you can have her whooshing around. So overall, the articulation for Airazor is actually pretty good for a deluxe class. As comparisons, here she is right next to the 1/44 scale of the RX-72 Gundam and the NECA 1994 Godzilla, which I had to adjust the camera just to get him in frame. And as for Transformers, here he is right next to Earthrise / Kingdom Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. And here she is with the Maximals. And unrelated to this, Optimus Primal, Rhinox, and Airazor are going to be in the upcoming Transformers Rise of the Beast movie. Alright, now it's time to transform Airazor to robot mode to beast mode. Airazor, maximize. Okay, so this part can be a tad bit difficult. Make sure you pull this all the way up and both of these look the same. Make sure you try to align these holes together so you can peg them together. And here is her beast mode, and I gotta say, transformation, it was actually pretty easy. And as for the painting and sculpting of the beast mode, dang, I gotta say that bird looks kind of realistic, especially if you're looking at the head. Yeah, it is so well done. Like I said, it looks kind of realistic. The only thing that ruins it is the screw right there. I'm not sure if there's some sort of upgrade kit that will cover it, but if I look at it from this side, it looks fine. And taking a look over there, the weapon storage, like I said earlier in the video, they had to make some compromises, so it's pretty understandable why there had to be a gap in the thigh. As for articulation for the beast mode, the wings remain the same, the legs somewhat remain the same, and as for the head can rotate and look down and up, and the beak can open. You just got to push down this tab right there, or better yet, get a toothpick. Yeah, open, damn it. Yep, it does open, but only slightly. And yes, you can still attach an action-based stand to have Airazor whooshing around. As for kibble, it is pretty obvious that the legs are, of course, the robot legs, and the head, well, you gotta give it props to the instruction manual that you had to rotate the head 180 degrees so it can hide the face, but the ball joint is still visible. But if you're looking at the front, or the top, or the side, maybe the behind, it looks okay. For size comparisons, here they are with the big G's and the Rise the Beast cast, which I am not going to transform because that'll take too much time, minus Mirage. Alright, let's turn Airazor back to the robot mode for my final thoughts. So for my final thoughts, just like the narrator asked, is it as good as people say? And I say yeah, it is. You get great details, really good articulation, and you get so much playability out of this figure. Now, if I have Cybertron, they would look great together. Also, trivia time. In the Japanese dub of the Beast Wars show, Airazor is a guy, and the fact that Cybertron and Airazor are lovebirds, well, I'll leave your imagination do the rest. But other than that, it's a great modern figure of Airazor. I highly recommend that you pick this figure up. Alright, so that about wraps up the review. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this sort of content, please be sure to subscribe to see more. And if you have any questions or concern, comment down below. Leave a like as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Next up, we're going to talk about another bird that is deadly in the sky. And man, it's been a while since I talked about a kaiju figure.